specific points on here that I'll point out. You have something called your coracoid or coronoid process, not to be confused with the coracoid process of the scapula. Okay, and then you have it's called the temporomandibular surface here, which is this little flat bit on the side, and this is going to be what articulates with the base of the skull, and it forms the temporomandibular joint, which is going to attach to the temporal lobe, where the temporal lobe would be. Okay, so coronoid process and temporomandibular surface, and then that's pretty much it. Like those are just the main specific points. Yeah, and then you have the whole rest of the bone, which is the mandible, and I'll go over the frame in a minute. Okay, so then for the actual skull itself, you guys probably know a lot more than you think here, but what do you guys think this big red bone on the front of the skull is going to be?
The frontal.
Frontal bone, right? What do you guys think? Do you know what the green one is back here?
Parietal.
It's going to be your parietal bone.
Occipital.
The brown one in the back.
Occipital.
It's going to be the occipital bone. And what about
temporal?
This is going to be the temporal bone. This is the pink fuchsia one right down here. Okay. So again, we've got our frontal bone here. The key thing to note is that it not only encompasses the top part of the skull, but it's going to make up a really big part of the front of the skull. All right. And so another thing, as we're going through, there's going to be a variety of different views that you can see the skull in. So you can see it frontal, you can see it cranially, you can see it caudally or inferiorly like that. You can see it laterally and then posteriorly too, right? So you're going to need to be comfortable with seeing this thing in a variety of different directions, and also being able to know the different bones of the skull when they're disarticulated too, so when they're all separated and everything. Okay, so real quick, what's this one? This big red one again?
Frontal.
Frontal, green one.
Parietal.
Parietal, brown one.
Occipital.
Fuchsia one.
Temporal.
Temporal. Okay. All right. Now, okay. So does anybody know what our cheekbones are called? Starts with a Z. These are called the zygomatic bones, and then zygomatic bone then fuses with part of the temporal bone here, forming your actual cheekbone, which is called your zygomatic arch here. Okay, so zygomatic fuses with the temporal bone to form the zygomatic arch. You can't just have like the zygomatic out and see the zygomatic arch. You have to have them fused together. Okay. So our cheekbones are going to be called our zygomatic. We have a pink one that forms the bridge of our nose. What's that one called?
Nasal.
Nasal bone, right? Does everybody know what our purple one right here is called?
Maxillary.
Yeah, this one's called the maxilla. Okay. So the top part of your jaw structure is going to be your maxilla, and your mandible is your mandible. Okay. So maxilla, zygomatic. Okay. All right. So now this is where it gets kind of tricky, and if you're sitting in the back, you might want to like scoot forward because there's intricate parts of the inside of the orbits that I'm going to have to point out to you guys. You need to be able to see. Okay. In the back, you want to scoot forward. There's some pictures of this, but some of them don't really look like the real thing, which is kind of annoying. But I'll do my best to point them out as we go through. Okay, so from the frontal view, in a fully articulated skull, you have this yellow bone that rests inside the nasal cavity, and it looks like a V when it's disarticulated. So when this whole little yellow bone right here is out, it looks like a V. So that bone is going to be called the vomer bone. Right? That's the vomer. And I'll get out the disarticulated ones in just a second. I'll show you. So this is the vomer. Yeah, it's V-O-M-E-R. The vomer bone. So we have a vomer. Our orange bones right here, right on the inside of the orbit, right where your tear ducts are at, It's going to be called the lacrimal bone, because guess what? We actually have something called the lacrimal duct. That is where all your tears come from. And not to bring up bad memories, but that's also an eccrine or eccrine duct, like as opposed to like apocrine, eccrine. Yeah. So tear duct is an eccrine duct. Okay. Actually, I'm just gonna take this. Okay. So orange one is the lacrimal. Yellow inside the nasal cavity is our vomer. You also have a green bone right here on the inside, right? So if like when you're looking on the inside, there's a green bone on either side right in there. That's going to be part of the ethmoid bone, right? The ethmoid. Yeah, like ethic, but ethmoid.
In the eye?
Yeah, so inside the orbit. So hopefully you're noticing that like as you're looking inside the orbits here, that's what our eye sockets are called, you can see a lot of different bones, right? So our green one is the ethmoid. This black bone in the back right here, this is going to be part of the sphenoid bone. S-P-H-E-N. Sphenoid or sphenoid, right? Oh, sorry, yeah, so sphenoid right over there. It's in the way back of the orbits, okay? So that's going to be the sphenoid bone. You can also, inside the orbit, see part of the frontal bone up here, as well as the maxilla. So a potential question I could give you guys could be, how many bones of the skull can you see inside the orbit? Okay, I'll let you guys figure that out later. But you can see a lot of them. All right, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Nope. Okay. All right, so just to review, what's our purple one here?
The maxilla.
Maxilla. What's the V-shaped one inside of our nose?
Vomer.
Vomer. This pink one that forms our nose?
Nasal.
Nasal. The orange one for our tear ducts?
Lacrima.
Lacrimal. The green one right inside on the medial side? Ethmoid, yeah. So it's this, I don't know if I showed you guys, but it's this green one like right over there. Okay, so that's going to be our ethmoid. What's our cheekbone called?
The zygomatic.
Zygomatic. And
Arch.
when it fuses with the temporal bone, what does it form?
The zygomatic arch.
Zygomatic arch. Then what's the big black bone that forms most of the back of the eye socket?
The sphenoid.
Sphenoid or sphenoid. So like I switch pronunciation sometimes, so like however you guys want to say it is totally fine. So sphenoid, sphenoid, however you want to do it. Okay. So yeah. Oh, and then the pink one that forms the top of the orbit.
The frontal.
Frontal bone, right? Okay. So that's everything that you can see from a frontal view. Now, I'll take you guys through an internal view, because you have to be able to know this one too. So, alright, so what's our big green one forming on the side right here?
Parietal.
Yeah, so it's going to be part of the parietal bone, right? The big brown one right here.
Occipital.
It's going to be the occipital bone. What about this pink one right here?
The frontal.
Frontal. So frontal you can see from every view that we've talked about so far, right? What about this fuchsia pink one right here? Temporal bone, right? Okay, so then what's this like kind of turquoisey green one right here? Yeah, so it's going to form the superior part of the ethmoid bone right here, okay? So the ethmoid sits up that you can see it from an internal view, and then you can see it from the frontal view inside your orbits there, okay? So our ethmoid bone, and then this big black bone right here.
The sphenoid. Sphenoid.
Sphenoid bone, right? Okay. Yeah, so that's all the bones you can see from an internal view, right? Let's do lateral here. Alright, so what's our green one up here? Parietal. See a little bit of the brown one back here?
Occipital.
Occipital, big fuchsia pink one.
Temporal.
Temporal, fusing with which bone here?
Zygomatic.
Zygomatic, when they fuse together, what do they form?
Zygomatic arch.
Zygomatic arch. What's the black bone forming right here?
Sphenoid.
It's going to be your sphenoid bone, right there. This big red one in the front.
Frontal.
Frontal. The purple one down here.
Mandible.
Maxilla. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all you can see from the lateral view. Okay, now from an inferior view. So it looks really gross and scary, I know. Sorry. So what's our purple one right here?
Maxilla.
Maxilla. This orange one?
Vomer.
Lacrimal. Right. So your lacrimal bone comes all the way down here to the top of your palate. Okay. So it forms the back part of your hard palate. Okay. So you got your lacrimal bone. What about this little yellow one right here?
Vomer.
It's going to be your vomer. So the vomer comes all the way back to the back end of the nasal cavity back there. Right? What about this big brown one?
Occipital.
Occipital, our pink one.
Prior.
Temporal, black one right here.
Sphenoid.
Sphenoid or sphenoid. You can kind of see part of this green bone right here. It's going to be the ethmoid. Also, the ethmoid is going to descend down into there as well. Okay. That's pretty much it. So, all right. So as you're going through and you're looking at these skulls, make sure you can point out all